What's up guys, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, and everything in between. Hope you're all doing wonderful today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's get into it, friends. Never assume someone is pregnant. My dad and I were at the grocery store checking out. Something about my dad: he loves babies, all babies, even the thought of babies. He also is a diagnosed narcissist, and all that entails. So we're finally next, and the cashier was a little chubby in her tummy. Not a big deal, but sorta noticeable. Dad, as he had many times before, started cooing and baby talking at her, wanting to know how far along she was, etc. She looked directly at him and said, "I had a miscarriage. Today's my first day back." Y'all, if a bottomless pit opened up in front of my father, he'd have stepped in without a word. I've never seen him more embarrassed. He started stammering out apologies, threw his wallet at me, and virtually ran from the store. At this point, she looked at me and said, "I didn't miscarry. I've never even been pregnant. And I'm sorry if I'm a bitch, but I'm sick and tired of people assuming I'm pregnant and saying stuff, and trying to touch me. People need to mind their own business." I never told my dad the truth, and to my knowledge, he hasn't assumed a woman was pregnant since. Edit. It's been brought to my attention that this little detail adds a lot of context. Before this cashier, my dad had had women say to him that they weren't pregnant, and one even said she was just fat. My dad would double down and start questioning and shaming their diet and eating habits. The entitlement of a narcissist is a thing to behold. There's a naked man trying to break into my room. Okay, so the story happened a while back, maybe 7 months ago, but it's a pretty weird one. So I work full-time audit, and this was when I was still new, 2 weeks into audit. I work at an airport hotel with 300 rooms, and the only employees on the property overnight is me and our security guard. So it's around 3 a.m. and I get a call from a room, and it's a guest with the shiniest membership possible. He whispers, "Hey, there is a naked man outside my door trying to get into my room. Please send security, I'm scared." My front office manager always told me to never send one person up to any incident involving naked people. I always brushed it off because I never thought I'd run into that problem. But boy was I wrong. So I call our guard over and give him the breakdown. I hit record on my phone and kept scissors on me just in case things got spicy. So I go up to the 6th floor and the naked man is twisting and pulling the room door really aggressive. I was about 20 feet away and yelled, "Yo, you good? Do you know where you're at?" The man just turns towards us and starts power walking towards us, without saying anything with his junk all out. The guard screams at him, "Hey mister, you need to stop where you were at right now before I call the police." He then hides behind me. The naked man then stops and just freezes. He covers himself up and says, "What the heck? Who the heck are you guys and what the heck is going on here?" I just replied back with, "We are hotel employees who just got a call about a disturbance and are trying to figure out what's going on ourselves. Are you a guest? If so, what's your first and last name and email address?" I run down and verify his name and email address because he clearly didn't have an ID on him. The guard comes down and takes him to his room with the new key. I write out an incident report along with the night guard, and the once naked man calls back and asks if I was there. He doesn't remember me being there. He only remembers the security guard letting his naked self into the room. He apologizes over and over and asks if we can email his doctor about the incident because he was just put on new meds, and sleepwalking is a rare side effect. After that, both the guy who called us about the naked man and the naked man himself left super positive reviews about me and our wimpy guard. We both were acknowledged, and I feel like it secured my Employee of the Month title. I love how the security guard is the one that hides behind the front desk guy when approached by a naked man. And a lot of people in the comments are mentioning that it's quite possible that the meds this guy is on is Ambien, as that does seem to be the medication that's pretty notorious for causing some pretty crazy sleepwalking episodes. Karen said, "Boys will be boys," so I returned the favor. More than 20 years ago, when me and my sisters were still in elementary, our mom took us to a shopping mall for clothes and groceries. Major supermarket was attached to the mall. After everything was over, we stopped by the bookstore where us kids picked whatever books we wanted, while she was picking educational books for both of us. The bookstore was also selling some physical discs for various software, including games. While both of us were looking into games we wanted, a little boy of our age came next to us, opened up one of the discs, and poked my sister in the eye. My sister immediately started to cry her eyes out, and my mom rushed over to see what was happening. She scolded the little boy after hearing what happened, to which he got upset and went to grab his Karen of a mother. Karen comes over and demands to know who yelled at her son. The two ladies began to get into a shouting match. My mom argued the kid had no reason to hurt my sister like that and should be taught better. Karen argued boys will be boys, and that he doesn't know any better. She asked my mom, "Why are you overreacting?" I decided enough was enough. I did a frontal kick on the kid as hard as I can, making him fall on his ass. I saw there was a nice footprint imprinted on his shirt. He began to let out the most annoying cry I've ever heard. The Karen quickly rushed over to her little turd and began shouting at me. I looked her in the eye and said, "Boys will be boys. Why are you overreacting?" She tried to argue more, but her friend or sister held her back and ushered her out of the store. We went to get burgers and fries afterward, and my mom also lectured me about how violence isn't the answer. Me being a little sprouty elementary kid didn't care, and rode that hype train for weeks. Manager made me stand inside freezer as punishment. Was this legal? A few months ago in June, I started my job. It's a fast food restaurant, but it's also my first job. I'm a 19-year-old female in the state of Florida. I'm going to say the name of the company is Arby's, but not the specific store. On August 24th, 2023, I was working 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. that day, and somebody asked me to stay late 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. I received 2 30-minute breaks for each shift. I was talking with another shift manager who asked if I will be okay and comfortable. I said I'm fine, just tired and slow. Assistant manager, a 58-year-old female, hears this and asked me to follow her into the freezer and made me stand there as she screamed at me, saying she disliked lazy, annoying employees like me that complain and whine about the job. She said she's a widow living by herself that only makes $15 per hour and that she's tired too but doesn't complain. Then states it's unfair nobody asked her permission for an extra worker, ruining her plans and labor. Then also states that corporate has been up her ass and she's always getting in trouble because of, quote, the troublesome new hires. Fast forward after the conversation, she told me to stay where I was standing and, quote, think about if I want to work or not, and she will come back to check on me. I'm not sure how long I was in there because she confiscated my cell phone after she left the freezer. The work uniform is a t-shirt plus black pants and apron, so it was very cold. A different manager, a 20-year-old male, found me as he came inside to get a box and asked what the hell I was doing. I told him it was cold and I felt tired, so I sat down and closed my eyes. He told me to not put up with assistant manager's crap and helped me outside and gave me a jacket and a hot drink. I sat at the desk trying to feel better before I went back to work. Apparently, she clocked me out the time I was in the freezer, so I wasn't even paid for that. I did as I was told. But shift manager 20 male said he ended up arguing with her about her mistreating me and the previous employees who all quit. On August 8th, she yelled at a 16-year-old girl for making the wrong sandwich, who went to the bathroom to cry and called her mom. The girl quit, but HR has so much evidence on assistant manager. Side note, there was a big store meetup in May 2022 before I started working there. I heard from other managers that the higher-ups yelled at her and wrote her up for mistreating employees. They stated HR did a big investigation and gave her a warning and a mandatory ethics course. I immediately called HR after the freezer incident. There are cameras and witnesses that day. There has been a week-long investigation and meetings. Due to Hurricane Idalia and Labor Day, it's been a little delayed. HR said they reprimanded her and will be giving me a $50 bonus compensation for the inconvenience. Also, assistant manager has been working for 23 years now. Although she gets transferred around every few years. Not sure if it is complaint related. She has been at this exact store for 3 years now. I'm told that her work ethic has always been like this. I don't know her too well as she is the night shift manager, so I only see her if I happen to work at night. Which I do not. I'm a college student who prefers working mostly 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. 2 to 3 days a week. I need money to pay for college and bills. We have had one big store-wide meeting where everybody, 16 workers at that time, had to come and sit down to talk about treating employees with respect. Wait, so that's seriously all HR did? It would have been one thing if she gave you this time out, for lack of a better term, anywhere else. But the fact she made you do it in a freezer really shows malicious intent. Given that she's been written up in the past for this kind of stuff and HR seems to be aware of it, it's really shocking that she hasn't been fired yet. If I were you, OP, I'd just get out of there as fast as I could. Couple brought a toddler with squeaker shoes to a wedding. Some dear friends got married the other day, and it definitely was not a child-free wedding. And to the parents in attendance credit, the 2 toddlers were mostly very well behaved, and as quiet as toddlers can be expected to be. Except for the goddamn shoes. The point at which it came to a climax of how the hell did you think this was acceptable was during the after-dinner speeches. Parents and close friends delivered beautiful speeches. When I first met Jordan, they were in the college cafeteria. I just stared daggers at this couple. How on God's green earth did either of them think, ah yes, wedding. Get the shoes with dog toy squeakers in them. People will definitely not hate us. Kid just found an autographed baseball. I took my 12-year-old daughter to a minor league baseball game. Before the game, she met several players and got their autographs on a ball. They were signing for everyone, so numerous kids got the same thing. Later in the evening, we got up to get food, and I told my daughter the ball would be safe, tucked inside our stuff left under the seat. No one else was sitting near us, and I've left stuff like that before many times. A couple innings after we returned, my daughter noticed her ball was missing. I looked around and saw a kid 2 rows behind us, holding 2 autographed balls. One of them had red signatures on it, and we were the only ones I saw with a red marker. I got up and made my way back to him and said, "Excuse me." And the dad immediately said, "Oh, he found this." And the kid handed it back to me. I hadn't even asked for the ball back, so they made it obvious they knew what they had done. Mind you, the kid already had his own signed ball. Nice job by the dad raising a thief. So you want to snoop in your daughter's texts? So I'm married to a wonderful woman. She's smart, funny, and very kind. Her mother is generally very nice and tends to have a great attitude and can be very enjoyable. A bit of a prude, but generally enjoyable. However, can be a bit of a major snoop. If my wife leaves her phone sitting around, she will just pick it up and start going through it. My wife has kind of laughed this off as a remnant of her mom being controlling when she was a kid. I'm not a fan of this because my wife and I will sometimes text about things that simply don't involve her mother, and I don't feel is her business at all. So over Christmas, I saw my wife set her phone down on the kitchen counter, and I had a brilliant idea. Her mom was still in the kitchen, and I sent my wife the most sexually depraved text about all the things I was going to do to her when everyone left. Honestly, most of them are things we haven't even done, but I had to make it extra scarring. I sent this text from the bathroom, and maybe it was my imagination, but I could swear I could hear an audible gasp shortly after the phone went off. When I went out, her mother absolutely would not look me in the eye. Then, not so discreetly, asked her daughter to come talk to her in the other room. When my wife came back into the living room, I thought she had been crying. However, upon closer inspection, she was laughing. My wife had told her kindly that what we do is between us and us only. Probably the best gift this Christmas. That is all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.